I had to redo a video. How about that one? Okay, it is the 12th after the 12th in the morning, a.m. It is November 2nd, 2023. It is Thursday morning. We're not live awake yet, are we? Good morning, my fellow zombies, emotionally screwed up and sleep deprived, or are you emotionally deprived and sleep screwed up like I am? Anyway, we were down to Roseman, California. So here we are, guys. Some news kind of surprised me yesterday, and I'm watching on YouTube a few minutes ago. George Santos won his day in Congress. Half the Congress still hates his ass, but can't get rid of him. The other half is just mostly Republicans. Still want his ass there because he's still needed for tie votes and stuff. And the Democrats are like, shit, we can't get rid of this asshole, can we? And yet the Republicans brought up the notion in the House chamber to get rid of George Santos, and there wasn't enough votes. It's supposed to be 2/3 in the House, including both parties. And they couldn't even come across to that one. So, unfortunately, the little short shit is in there. And as it was reported on MSNBC, there was like 5 of the people who brought the suit against Santos on the floor are from New York. Santos is from New York. And yeah, these are the same 5 assholes that voted in the current Speaker of the House. I tell you, the Trumplicans are so screwed up, it's not even funny. And then, there's this other one. I was about to say something. I had to get the facts straight on this one because I didn't think I heard it right. Bridgeport, Connecticut, regarding a mayorship. Now, you heard throughout the several years of vote tampering and voter suppression and ballots don't work and yada yada yada. You heard of regarding presidential campaigns. You heard of from other candidates regarding governorships, senatorships, Republicans. Even a mayor is not immune. Bridgeport, Connecticut, the incumbent is forced to cheat to keep in office. Uses employees to stuff absentee ballot boxes. Before the primary can be held, ballot boxes are stuffed. The challenger found out about this through video. Apparently obtained the videos and did a compilation and brought a lawsuit. Took it to Superior Court and won. Case stating that, yes, the incumbent mayor and the staff were cheating. But staff was doing the Fifth Amendment. So now they got to come up with a new election before the primaries, before November 7th. If the election happens, I can't get up with a date, but the regular election happens, and the challenger wins, then the case is moot and no issue. But if the mayor actually wins, then there's a logistical nightmare. There is a problem because the mayor won by cheating. You know, this was a clear case. Compared to what the national crap was over the past several years, what the Trumplicans have been screaming and yelling their heads off, there was no problem regarding the voting. There was nothing found. There was no evidence presented. That's why the cases were dropped. That's why the cases were dropped or lost, and kicked out. And it was never proven, unless there was corresponding evidence to prove voter fraud on a national chain. in every damn state. There's no way in hell to prove that last election that we have for the 2020 actually was voter fraud. There's none. It would have been a massive conspiracy theory to do this. And those who did the massive conspiracies are getting their asses reamed. Saying that we know that there's voter fraud, but we can't prove it. Every time they keep bringing it to the court and also to the Superior Court, we're like, where's the evidence? We know it, we just don't have the proof. That's not good enough. We have to see proof. But we know it's out there. Somewhere. Drop kick. So, you know what this election is going to be like? They're going to be screaming and yelling for more and more voter accountability. Other states, other communities are trying to narrow down their parameters on how to vote and where to vote and when to vote in order to control a party to be elected. And if it backfires, they're going to say, no, they cheated again. Well, we did everything we could in this particular thing in form and fashion. You said it'd do it this way. We did it this way. And this party actually won. And you screamed and yelled about it because you thought they cheated. Even though you kept saying, here are the guidelines and everything else that we followed. And your party still screwed up. And you still say it's cheating. Bridgeport, Connecticut was showing on camera directly. They had people brought in that were recognized as employees. And they were brought in for questioning. And they took the fifth. But it was on record. We have it on record. And the judge threw it out. This was a lower court ruling for mayor. How is this going to be played out for the national? It's going to be a different thing altogether. There's a lot of states out there who are going to be putting out more and more roadblocks left and right, either to delay or to derail elections so one party can rule. Gerrymandering was one of those damn things in one particular state that the maps are supposed to be redrawn, and they refused to do so, despite the fact you had a Supreme Court on their ass for it. A conservative court, Supreme Court of the United States, ruled that gerrymandering was unconstitutional in this one state. Because that case was brought up to the Supreme Court to decide if the gerrymandering was allowed. Just one particular district for one particular party. Because the majority in that district was black. Louisiana. They can't get a break, can they? They're ordered to have another district. Maps have to be redrawn. Lewis said, Supreme Court, we're going to do what we're going to do. It would make the elections invalid. If it was brought up to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court looked at it and says, no, you failed. You failed to obey us because we are the Supreme Court. Now, they are having issues in the Supreme Court regarding the judges themselves being too lax, lenient. They think they're the highest authority in the land, therefore they ought to get away with a hell of a lot of crap. And the Senate is having a field day with this shit. Not to mention Congress. But if they happen to say, regarding election situation, that the election was fixed, it's fraud, you can't do this, is that particular state going to be held accountable, and how are they going to be held accountable, and who's going to enforce the accountability? That's what I got. That's what I got an issue with. That's what I really have an issue with. California doesn't have that option because we don't have that situation. Besides being having a Democratic-controlled government in our state, we don't have that issue. We do allow voter flexibility, but we're not limiting anybody and everybody into gubernatorial uh, party lines here and there for the votes. The districts where they are, they're not realigned. If we had another Republican in the governorship, that's a different story altogether. If there was a majority in the state representative in the state assembly, they'll be allowing it. Unless the state Supreme Court says, no, it's not allowed. Either we follow the rule of law or we don't. Bridgeport is having that conniption. If their election is held and a challenger wins, they've got new issues. The challenger wins as the mayor, and then it's all dropped. But if the incumbent wins, if the current mayor wins by cheating, now how is that what kind of precedent is that going to be setting? Weird ass times we're facing these days.